Hey everybody, welcome back to Goodale Farm. I'm Peter. It's a weekday evening. I'm out just about to bring Lacey back in to give her supper in the barn. I'm just walking around and looking at some of the flowers that are popping up and notice some of the things around and figured I'd share it with you. And if you have any insight to what I'm kind of curious about, I appreciate your comments. So hey, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you around. I have this rhododendron in front of my house. It's one of the biggest rhododendrons I've ever seen. I don't know how you age a bush like this, but looking at ones you buy at a nursery and then the growth, I wouldn't be surprised if this is over 50 years old or even more. But what I notice, this older rhododendron, it blossoms late as compared to the younger rhododendrons. So here it is, July 1st, and this is still blossoming. There's still some early blossoms on it, where the other rhododendrons on my property were blossoming a good, let's call it a month earlier. And being that this thing is so huge, I have no choice but to walk by it every day to go from one point to another in my yard. And I noticed all the bumblebees that are on the rhododendron flowers. Now I just want to say it's bumblebees. It's not regular honeybees or, hornets or wasps. They're bumblebees. And when I look at the plant overall, just may not catch it all on video, but it's loaded with it. And I might see one honeybee around, but for the most part, they're all bumblebees, which makes me think, do bees or bumblebees have a special diet that they like? So here's the other rhododendron I was talking about. This one, much younger, but these blossoms, I may have seen them in the previous videos, they're way long gone. I think these were probably out in the late May time frame. Long gone, and you have the new growth green leaves here. Rhododendrons love the shade, so this is north facing. It's a great place for it to grow. Unfortunately, it's growing big and it's up against the house, so plants sometimes get like that. They're great when you first put them in, but after 3 to 5 years, they overgrow. It becomes a problem. This magnolia tree that's right next to that rhododendron, same thing. This thing grows like crazy. I cut this thing back a couple years ago. You'd think the thing would have died. It must have tripled in size since then. It's a good coverage plant, but close to the house, houses need ventilation. Without the ventilation, you'll have more moisture and mold problems. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with this guy. Like here's, I think, what we call a tiger lily. You see these a lot on the roadside. It's somewhat of it is an ornamental flower, but they grow wild a lot also. In here, no bumblebees. I see more little type of insects that go after that nectar. I'm just kind of curious what drives the difference. I'm happy to see these cone flowers coming up now. I got these from a friend of mine who was thinning out their garden. I got them a month and a half or so ago, just as they were coming out of the ground. So that worked out pretty well, and I got enough that we actually have some additional ones over here. Now what I like about coneflower is that obviously they're visually appealing, but they also have a nice seed head, so they not pollinate, I guess they self-seed themselves. So I'll be able to what they call deadhead. Once the flower's dead, you cut the seed head off and you could plant it elsewhere. So these are looking great. Right now there's no pollinators on them, you know, bees or butterflies or moths or whatever, but they're apparently pretty popular with the butterflies. I don't know if it's too early for butterflies, but it's a rainy day today. Maybe that's why we don't see any. So with the bee boxes, this is pretty interesting. Something I'm learning. We're new to this here. So we bought the bees. They call these things nucs, you know, the original hive, I guess. And that first box came with a queen and some of the colony with it. And after a few weeks, they fill up these boxes. You know, the bees, the worker bees, are filling up these boxes with larvae, and you add a second box on top of it. So you can see the original box is the one that has like the handles on it. Whoop, handles on the bottom, and then the top one is a new box. And that second box up top is much like the bottom box, so the queen is able to go up and down, and the workers obviously do that as well. But to actually harvest the honey now, the third box, when we put the third box on, you actually put a screen between the second box and the third box, and that screen has the little holes where the worker bees can go through the holes, but the queen, which is a bigger size bee, the queen cannot go through the screen. So all the workers will still be attracted to the box. They'll come and deliver their nectar or what have you, and in that third box, being that there's no queen, the larvae will not form, so it will in effect just be filled with honey, and you can harvest it from there. It was pretty interesting, something to learn. I figured I'd share it with you. Anyway, those are honeybees. And when I cut my lawn, I'm not fussy. I leave a lot of the outgrowth around the rocks, etc. I let it grow wild, because you'll have natural wildflowers. I didn't plant these things, they just kind of come up. They come up, and I figure, you know, it's great for the pollinators, the bees, to kind of go after that. Of course, you know, there's plenty in the back fields over around here, but it doesn't hurt to have something nearby. And if you are interested in getting into beekeeping, one of the things that bees like is having a body of water nearby, because they drink like you and I drink, and just going through creating the hive and the larvae, that takes a lot of water. So having a water source nearby, and obviously having flowers with pollen and things like that, are essential also. And here's some other wildflowers. I forget what the name of these are. Somebody on Facebook recently posted these, and a bunch of people replied with the name, but I forget what it was. But I do know goldfinch love these things. So those little yellow birds. So I always like to see those birds kind of flying around. So whenever I have these kind of stalky looking yellow things, I leave them alone. Some of them grow pretty tall. I mean, I think last year I had one probably 5 or 6 feet tall. It was pretty interesting to see. In an earlier video, I highlighted this guy here. This is a, I called it a cedar tree that's kind of grown into this rock outcropping. But take a look at what we have going on here. So a question for you viewers, are those seed pods or the equivalent of like acorns for cedar trees? I mean, they look like berries, and maybe it's a berry. So anyway, if you do happen to know, it'd be interesting to share what that might be. Go ahead and put it in the comments. So the bunny rabbits are, I don't want to say they're full grown, but they grew a lot. They're definitely out on their own. They're still a little skittish. Actually, rabbits are always skittish, but him and his brother and sister. And there's a lot more. There's probably 10 different rabbits, and I think they're both the same, but they all look the same. But good to see them still around. Good to know they survived. All right, dinner time for you. Let's go. I got her hay. And I got her pellets here. Oh, hold on. Let me put the light on so the video's a little bit better. All right, we got the hay. Fresh bucket of water. Lacey's there eating her grain. So we're going to close this up. And she should be all done. The birds, I have noticed the swallows. Oh, there we go. They came in, noticed me, and took off. It heard them in the background. But they do tend to spend the night inside the barn. But pretty soon, I think they'll be old enough where they're going to find their own spot. So, all right, Lacey, have a good night. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Just a quick video for today. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.